up, everybody? It's Jim with Reverb.com. I am backstage with this guy right here. This is Brad Paisley, man. Thanks for taking the time and inviting me, man.
Good to be here.
So we were just talking a little bit about this Santa Cruz.
This is more like a DPW.
Right.
With better wood and a little different situation.
It's a little boomier, right?
Yeah,
a little
definitely.
bit more bass. Yeah.
Got more bass to it.
Gorgeous, man. This is the first one? Or
No, this is like the one I use live.
Yeah.
The first one, I keep it at home.
So is there anything different about this one, like that's specifically dialed in for the live sound that's different? That's just
Has a pickup.
Right.
The other one doesn't.
Right.
That's about it. This is a Bags, and they built it, they put it in here specifically for it, and paired it up for me, and actually built me one, or took an older DPW and put a Bags in it to show me what it could be.
Yeah.
And it was pretty great, and it's very microphonic at the same time, but it doesn't really feed back. So
Right.
you'll hear it tonight on the show. I mean, it works even in a big venue like this.
Let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the electrics that we saw upstairs.
Yeah.
I mean, I started with the 52, right?
Yeah, that's been it has a bender in it. And
Well, they all have benders in it, right?
all the ones I use live do, yes. Did he show you the prototype Fender?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't have one yet.
Right.
I use that.
I was going to
So-
ask about that. I mean, there have been all these rumors kind of spreading around as to what it was.
Right, yeah. Fender's working on a couple of models that they're going to put out with me that are stuff I've really been involved in picking out what becomes of that guitar. You know how those great old 50s guitars, a lot of them were light and a lot of them were very resonant and had the thick neck and it's all that.
You went to Fender, you helped kind of pick out wood and all that sort of stuff?
And we've been doing a thing back and forth where we're trying to nail down what it is.
Right.
Won't be out for a little while yet. We're still refining.
Cool. And it sounds like, obviously the Crook stuff, that's all custom made.
And Bill Crook and Bill Crook has been building me guitars since maybe early 2000s. He's just such a great artisan luthier, boutique builder that will just do whatever you want.
I know that he prides himself on building guitars specific to a player, right? Is he building you guitars and then you get them and you're like, this is great? Or are you going to him and saying...
Well, by this point, he knows exactly what I like. Like, he can basically figure out, he knows what the action should be for it before he ships it. Although he will push me. He'll say, I put Bardens in this guitar. I know you've never used Bardens before, but you like Danny Gatton, and these are pretty neat. Try them. If you don't like them, we'll switch them out.
Yeah. And it's usually Fralin, right, in the neck, and then...
My classic Paisley, the 68 Paisley that I've played forever, that old Fender of mine, the pickup broke in the middle of recording the first album, and it was a 68 pickup. And historically, the stock pickups in a 68 guitar, they aren't quite what, like, say, the stock pickup at a 52 Telecaster. Right. Like the 52 that you saw, that's the original pickup back in that guitar. Right. But when the pickup broke in my 68, I just went to a guitar store and bought a bunch of different pickups at the time. And when I got to the Fralin, basically it was the Blues Special. I was like, that's what it ought to sound like.
Yeah.
So that pickup's been in that guitar ever since then.
So many tellies up there. Besides that twang, is there anything that you can tell that is the reason why it has become so ubiquitous in
Well, it's interesting because you think of it as a country instrument, but lately you see a lot more, in our format, you see a lot more Les Pauls and Strats and 335s. But I think that the reason that you think of it as country would have everything to do with James Burton and Buck Owens and Don Rich and Haggard, Roy Nichols, and that instrument really became the sound in the 60s of a country thing. And, in that sense, that's always where my heart is, which is even when we do songs that are more progressive, there's this, I sort of keep one foot in that world.
Switch gears and start talking a little bit about your pedal board. There are a lot of delays on your boards. One of the things that's a deceptively hard thing to dial in is a really good slapback, right?
Yes, there's two delays I really like for that, and the digital delay thing can be a curse because they can sound so sterile and thin your tone, but my favorite is the Boss DD2 from the 80s. And it's funny, people say, well, the DD3 is the same circuit. I call BS on that because I've really listened and they're not. There's something about the 3 that's thuddier and I don't like it. The DD2 is like an 8-bit and it's got some compression circuit in it that also compresses your delays a little bit. So it therefore sort of makes your tone a little bit more pleasant, but it doesn't mess with the bass of the initial note.
And I've always thought that they weren't quite as warm and murky as like an analog, like an Aquapus, right?
Right, and that was the other one I was going to say, is the Aquapus. Yeah. That's a murkier thing. On a ballad, that's fantastic. Yeah. On most of my solos tonight, it's one of those 2 pedals, and that's it. And then for distortion, I'll rely on either the Paisley Drive, which is a great pedal that Brian Wampler built me. I love that pedal. And that's on several songs. There's one he built that isn't for sale called an Underdog, which is remarkable. It's almost like a fuzz, but it's not a fuzz, so it doesn't sort of act up. I've got a Dumbleoid, which I really like. It's only on a song or 2, but it's a really unique thing. It sounds like a Dumble. And what's interesting about our pedal board is it's all bypassed, typically. Most of the night tonight, you'll hear one of 3 combinations of amps, and the common denominator is this new amp that Dr. Z is releasing this year. We have the original prototypes out here. We've got 2 or 3 of them, but they were a clean sheet of paper design that I had this idea of something I wanted, and he said, well, there's this tube I've always wanted to use to build an amp. And he built this amp that's got a pentode type tube in the front, but it's not an EF86. I don't know the number of it, what the name of it is, but no one's ever built an amp with it. It sounds like an EF86 that's thicker, that's a little bit more robust. That's one of the things I loved about the AC-15s and the early AC-30s was that thing that's different than a top boost. So one of the main combinations that you hear all night is this new Z amp paired up with the Z-Rec. The Z-Rec is Ken Fisher's take to some degree with collaborating with Dr. Z on a top boost AC-30 circuit that's a little more even-ended. And then you have this new amp that he's making, which is more of that great squashy pentode tube thing. Yeah. And together, there's this coupling that happens. Some songs I will pair up that new Z amp with 1970 Marshall.
The Super Lead. It's got a Variac in the back.
You have to. I mean, it's like it's Variac, or maybe we don't need it in the PA. And then on the far end, I have an AC-100.
Right.
That's a Mark I. It was originally a Mark II, but it's been modded back to the Mark I, which is the cathode bias. That thing. So I'll use that in combination with the Z amp as well, which is really good.
I feel like Z makes some of the most special amps.
He does. He's a no BS guy. He is like, wow, what do you want, Brad? What do you want? Tell me what you want. I'll try to do it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea. He'll tell you like it is. It's great.
Yeah, I was actually on the phone with him one time, and he got off the phone really abruptly and called me back 10 minutes later. He's like, hey, sorry, Brad just called me. Jagger was hanging with him, and Brad wanted me to send him a bunch of amps or whatever.
That's right. He sent an amp to Mick. Yeah, it's like, I understand. Yeah. You have to let that one go, I guess.
Yeah, sure. You guys are working on a record, or, were you guys just hanging?
We were writing. Me and Mick have been writing some stuff.
Because you guys were on tour.
We recorded a couple things, It's been amazing.
Yeah.
He is brilliant and 20 years old still in every way.
I mean, obviously, I know that you're on the site quite a bit. Are we ever going to see a Brad Paisley shop on Reverb?
Yeah, it's my favorite website. I think that it's as well as you can possibly put together something like this. And it's hard to describe it because it's I've known about it for a while now, and I'm a huge fan, and my wife was wondering what that is, Yeah. It's like, well, it's not just a place, it's not a place that you only buy things. It's like you buy things, and you learn about things, and you get information, and it's almost a community.
Yeah.
It's really, you feel safe on that site in a way that you don't necessarily, you don't feel that safe on eBay or something.
Right.
Because it's sort of like the Wild West on eBay a little bit more.
For sure. Well, I'm looking forward to setting up that shop for you.
You going to be out on the stage tonight? We're going to have you at the bar?
I mean, I'll have a beer if you're inviting me.
We do. We have a bar out there, so you're invited.
All right. I'll be there. You should check out all the gear that we've talked about, DD2, Z amps. You can even probably check out a Crook guitar now and again. Definitely these Santa Cruzes. Absolutely beautiful instruments. Brad, thanks so much for spending the time with us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Cool.